All right, enough of that. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. So we're looking at Bitcoin. It's obviously holding some support off this black upward trend line. As we talked about in the previous video, curving with this red line is kind of what we want to see. It's starting to push upwards. We are getting more and more bullish information as we see the volume is decreasing, but the price is increasing, meaning people aren't selling off nearly as much as you think they would right in this area. And so we are starting to get more buys, while the people who sold off up here are also buying up more Bitcoin. Moving right on over into near as it was requested, and it is looking better today than it did yesterday. Clearly we can see, if I post it out here, that there's potential for more or less, I guess, not necessarily this isn't the right shoulder, but there's the head and the right shoulder. So we need this to fill out. When we get over this 200 EMA, definitely starting to look for an entry in this point. You could enter here. It's not the best risk to reward ratio, but once you get over that 200 EMA, as we always see in the past back here in like November, over the 200 EMA, we get that pop up and then rejection, obviously. And then we push back up over that. So whenever we got over that, the second time we had a further increase in price. Near is at an absolute low at the moment, or almost absolute low. It is only $2.50. And we always see this black downward trend line. When we get over this, as we've seen in Tornado Cash, like this, I will bring it back up in this video as well. Tornado Cash, here is the similar black downward trend line, crossed over the 200 EMA, major push up, got rejected, got over that 200 EMA and that black downward trend line, and has been bullish ever since. So similar is kind of what we were expecting to happen with near. Once we get over that 200 EMA, you could get a scalp entry and sell off here around 5, doubling your money, and then waiting for a retracement or slow creeping over this black downward trend line and holding support over the 200 EMA. Jumping right into XRP. XRP went down to the near 618 Fibonacci retracement from its previous low, and it pushed right back up into the 0.5 area, trying to test this 0.382 on the Fibonacci retracement. Excuse me. Downward trend line, as we are seeing, bull flag, and when we get over this black trend line here, we can expect the push starting to move upwards. This date right in here, between August 13th and August 15th, some very important news. I believe the SEC and XRP are finalizing their lawsuits and all that BS that's been going on for years, but the end date, the 21st, anywhere in between this area, so next week or 2 weeks from now, we can expect some major price movement. So if you're thinking about selling your XRP, don't do that. Not financial advice in any way for any of these coins, but don't do that. Breaking this downward trend line is very important, similar with the other trend lines. When we broke this downward trend line, major push up, came down in this downward bull flag channel, and we want to see that major push up towards the 3-4 once yet again, holding support within this area, maybe a little bit of consolidation before ultimately taking off. However, within these dates, we may see some very important information happen, and it may blow right past that up into the 450 range mark from the previous Fibonacci retracement being right here around 430 to 450. Beyond that, we are looking at $6 to $7 and even higher. So just keeping all that in mind, XRP is definitely something I'm dollar cost averaging. Any profits I'm making, I'm trying to throw some into XRP for the dollar cost, whether you're buying at the highs or the lows. Overall, since I've been buying at 50 cents before the major pump, everything's in profit, but still keep throwing money into XRP. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. It's best to diversify, so whenever one coin is going sideways, you can actually start making profit in another coin, take it out of there, put it back into the other coin that you think has more potential. For example, switching in between XRP and Quant. Whenever you make your profit, throw a little bit into XRP, definitely pay yourself a little bit. I know it's hard to not throw it all back into the same coin that just made you a bunch of money, but there's always retracements bound to happen. Similar with XRP is XLM. It's testing this upward trend line, or downward trend line, I guess, the upper version of it. When we break that, we can expect a potential 20% increase, making it back to this all-time or this previous high, which is similar to what happened with XRP. Once it gets up to that previous high and closes, this is typical to see within a cup and handle pattern where we get a major push up, push down with a consolidation, making everything fair game, volume picking up. I don't have my RSI on here. I'm not going to bring it up because it's a pain, but I can expect that once this breaks over this, we are going to start seeing that push up very quickly, as we did when we had our first entry down here around 29 cents. So all that in mind, XRP and XLM work together. So they're both going to be moving in similar formation. If you're buying some XRP, definitely stack some XLM. I know it's hard to diversify, but it's the smartest way to make money whenever you don't have all your eggs in one basket. When something else is going sideways, there's always something else in the market going up. You see it happen whenever one coin is pumping like 20%, you're like, oh, I missed the pump. Then it goes up 125% the next day, and you're still waiting for your coin to break up over the previous high. There's other coins out there that can be making you a lot of money, which brings me to Aerodrome Finance. Aerodrome's looking better day by day. It is trying to break and hold above that 200 EMA, and as always, when we hold over that 200 EMA, we can start seeing the push upwards. Skipping XCN and coming back to it after XYO and a few others, but XYO, long drawn out play, similar to what I was just talking about. When you have all your eggs in one basket, if somebody's fully in on XYO, it's probably not the best bet, but we are at an absolute low, holding support up on this black upward trend line, and we just need to get over that 200 EMA. Most likely at the same time, we will break this downward trend line, and both of those are very important to start seeing the bullish formation form out, filling out the cup and handle. So we could see a major pump pushing to 1.8 with a little bit of downward consolidation, filling out the cup and handle, bringing the RSI back into formation, testing the fair value gap at 1.5 before pushing up to 0.025 and beyond for XYO. Very, very low price point. Volume is picking up. Not a bad entry at this point, but I personally like to see it get over that 200 EMA and over this downward trend line. Yes, you may lose out on a little bit of percentage here, but you have a more stable entry and something that is not so risky. Spell. We had a 43% pump in Spell. I was saying the other day, not much to look at because there wasn't really much to look at. We just needed to see support off this black trend line. If you're watching this consistently, yeah, you may get that entry. However, it happened very, very quickly. Let's see if we zoom in to the 4 hour. It was 4, 8, 12, about 16 hours. So in the first 4 hours, it had a major pump up. And usually whenever you see that pump, you want to see some kind of retracement before entering, which it retraced, touched that 200 EMA, and then made that consolidation support before pumping once yet again. However, I like to, the 4 hours definitely a better time frame if you're trying to trade on the daily, but if you're looking for more of a swing trade, I kind of want to see Spell creep up over that 200 EMA before deciding to enter, and thinking that it's going to be an inverse head and shoulders. We may get that push to 0.007 before ultimately testing that 200 EMA once more and then consolidating back upwards. So Spell is a meme coin, or I guess it's a gaming coin, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on now that we had that pop and very, very high volume. The volume, this could be picking up and pushing it right over that 200 EMA, which is where you would be looking for your entry. Moving on to Compound, looking very healthy as well. Keeping that 200 EMA very close and tight, holding well above the upward trend line, holding well above the downward trend line. Tested it twice as support, and we see that this downward trend line is now considered very nice support, as well as the upward trend line. Volume decreasing while prices trying to increase, meaning there's not a whole bunch of people selling this anymore. We just need to creep up over this 200 EMA, and we will start seeing Compound take off. And I remember years ago, I saw compound very, very cheap, like we see right now, around $48. And it had that pump up to 61. I was like, okay, well, let's kind of wait it out, see what happens. Then immediately afterwards, pumps to around, I think it was actually 125. So it pumped from almost 3x, or I guess 2x from where it was at. This was way back here. So I guess I was looking at something like this. 108 had an entry, pushed up to 173, almost double money before retracing, and then ultimately taking off to nearly $500,000, and then beyond $500,000, almost $1,000. And I remember saying I did have $125 I could spend on compound, and I didn't, and that 125 could have been $1,000. So here we are back at the very nice entry potential point. Volume picking up exponentially. There's not RSI on this one either, but it is looking absolutely substantial, or phenomenal, I guess, to have an entry once we get over this 200 EMA. If you're not willing to enter at 46, you could be entering at 50, and you would still not be missing out on much, as this pump is going to be pretty intense for compound. Adding in SHIB real quick, Hbar definitely adds some to your portfolio, along with XLM and XY or XRP, but we are in an absolute bottom with SHIB. Not a bad entry once we get over the 200 EMA, pushing up to the downward trend line, but breaking this downward trend line, SHIB also has a phenomenal way to go to reach its all-time high, up at 0.0000, almost 9. So very good risk to reward ratio, as we are very low point, but it is a meme coin as well. Now moving on to everybody's favorite XCN. A lot of people are nervous. Everybody's freaking out, saying, oh, it's going to crash. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we're underneath the 200 EMA once more. But the previous two times we were underneath the 200 EMA, we had a major push. We pushed underneath the 200 EMA again, pushed up over, tested as support, pushed up. We are underneath once again. However, there's not a whole bunch of sellers. Not a bunch of people are selling this because they know that the all-time high is at 18 cents. At a penny and a half to 18 cents, the risk to reward ratio is phenomenal. If you missed out on this, yeah, you may not have the best entry as if you did down here at dropping a 0 and a major percentage. But now that we're holding the 200 EMA as support, we just need to see this creep up over. And ultimately, if I bring in a trend line, it brings in all the BS. More or less, let's see, let's get it right here. This is roughly what we want to see it break over, is this yellow trend line here, which we see it pushed up after touching this as support, the downward wedge, pushed up to this downward trend line, got rejected, pushed down, and now we are trying to hold support over the 200 EMA, which is right where this orange line connects, which is the previous kind of support, as well as this black trend line. Looking like it pushed underneath that black trend line. Doesn't look the best, but nobody is selling at this point. Everybody is trying to pick up their bags slowly and creep up over this downward yellow trend line. Major cup and handle formation, as we were kind of seeing similar with XYO. We get that major pump where it pumps up and then has the creep out, and then we can see another pump up exponentially. This has major potential not only to hit 18 cents, but to hit a new all-time high, being around potentially 40 cents. So if you got a penny and a half and you want to turn it into almost 2 quarters, XYO or XCN, sorry, is your go-to. I personally have stacked quite a bit of XCN. I'm not promoting it because I have a bag stacked. I'm promoting it because I know when this takes off, not only am I going to make a bunch of money, but you guys will make a bunch of money as well. Definitely more of a swing trade, as it's been creeping for a long time, since April of 2025, and here we are in August. So it's definitely got a long ways to go, but whenever you see this long consolidation, let's just bring back XRP when we had long consolidation for years, a bunch of rejection, a lot of lawsuits and whatnot, but we see consolidation from, what is this, July of 2023 until 2024 of November. November, September is kind of what we were expecting again for XRP to have some major pushes. But you can see once it says we pushed underneath the 200 EMA, like, oh, it's going to continue downward, it's worth nothing. And then once it got over that 200 EMA, boom, took off. So that's kind of what we were expecting for XCN. Removing everything, there's the 200 EMA. We see it's trying to get underneath that 200 EMA. It can't. Essentially, it could be pushing down to 0.0079, being this low. But as long as we are holding above this area, we are in the clear to start seeing some more bullish momentum for XCN. That's it for this video. References for free airdrop money. If you want free money, Grass is a great way to do it. Reference in the description below. MEXC has the lowest trading fee platform. Tornado, you can trade Tornado Cash, which I've brought up in other videos as well as this one. Tornado Cash is looking very, very nice for an entry. If you missed out on the previous entry around 7, you can still enter here around 10. 11 is what we need to break before it starts pushing, but they wash money. Who doesn't want their money washed? Reference in the description below for MEXC, as well as Coinbase, airdropping money, and all the other good stuff. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you guys on the next one.